Hello everyone, this video is about another kind of factorization. So far I have discussed the factorization, the very basic factorization where we can take one letter or one number as a common term, and then we discussed about the factorization of the quadratic polynomials, which are monic, means they will be like x squared plus bx plus c form. And in today's lesson, we are going to discuss about the factorization of a similar expression, but there we would be having ax squared plus bx plus c, and this a will not be equal to 1 and a will not be 0. Because if a is 0, then it will no more be a quadratic expression, so a should be a non-zero number. But if a is equal to 1, that is this case, we have already discussed it. Now the case is when you have a other than 1. It can be a negative value, like let's say negative 2x square, something like this, or it can be a positive 2x square, 3x square, like this. So I will be taking 2 to 3 examples to explain this whole process of factorization. And let's dive into the whole process. So the first thing is, let's take an example, 3x squared plus 16x plus 5. So this is a quadratic trinomial and it is a non-monic. Non-monic stands for that the x square coefficient will not be 1, but it will be any number other than 1. Let's say 1, 2, 3, positive, negative, not 1, sorry. It will be any number other than 1 and 0. So in this case, we use the method called splitting the middle term. The factorization is done with the help of splitting the middle term method. Now, what is this method? It is a little bit similar to the one which is a factorization of monoquadratic trinomials. So we will be learning about the two terms. One is the sum and the another is product. Now, as per the rule, we always call this middle term, which is the coefficient of x, as the sum. Whenever you do factorization, always try to see if it is a quadratic trinomial, then it should be first term should be x squared, then term containing x, and then a constant term. So here this middle term's coefficient, which is plus 16, this is a sum. And product will not be only just this 5, rather than that, it will be the multiplication of 3 and 5 together. So this is 50. This is a very important difference between the normal factorization, which is like x square plus bx plus c form, and the another is which is ax square plus bx plus c form. Sum will remain same, but the product would be different in both the cases. So in this case, product will be 3 multiplied by 5. Now what we need to do, the same process, we have to find out two numbers that will add up to 16 and they will give a product of 50. Always go for the product first and see how we can get the product as 15. So write down all the factor forms of 15. So 15 is like 1 times 15 and 15 is also equals to 3 times 5, which is 50. In both the cases, we are getting the product as 15. Once you get the product as 15, we have to look for the sum. So in the first case, 1 and 5, if I add, I'm getting 16. And if I add 3 and 5, I'm getting 8. So this first combination is satisfying both the results, that sum should be 16 and product should be 15. Now the case comes, what is the splitting of middle term? Now we got the two numbers as our answers, like 15 and 1. Now we will be splitting the middle term, which is 16x over here, into two parts, and those parts will be 1x and 15x. And you can write them in any order, 1x plus 15x or 15x plus 1. So I would be writing the expression as 3x squared plus 15x plus 1x plus 5. Okay, so the first thing is I found what is the sum, what is the product. To find the product, you need to multiply the first number, the x square coefficient, with the constant term. Then we find the correct combination and we split middle term. Now, if you see, we have total 4 terms. Now look for what we can take common from the first 2 terms. So we have 3x squared and 15x, and I can see that 3x can be taken common. If you are good with my first factorization lesson, then you would be able to do this part. So it will be x plus 5 inside. Then plus, now we have 1x plus 5. There is nothing common, so we can just write 1 as a common number. So 1 times x plus 5. Now if you look here, we have 2 terms. One is 3x times x plus 5 and another is 1 times x plus 5. So out of these two terms, we can take x plus 5 common. Then 3x will be left from the first term and this plus 1 will be left from the second term, and this completes the factorization part. Now let's take one more example. In this example, I take here both the signs as positive, but these signs can be negative as well. So let's take one more example here. Let's say the question is 4x squared minus 12x minus 7. This product and sum, if you have to find out, you should be good with the negative numbers. So here again, I will be writing what is the sum value. As here, if we see, sum is equals to negative 12. The product will be equal to 4 times negative 7, which means it is negative 28. So the product is negative. And we know product is negative if one number is positive. If the multiplication of two numbers is a negative value, that means either one of them will be negative. Now, we write this 28 minus, so it can be, we can write all the factors. So let's say 1 times negative 28. Then we can write down 2 times negative 14. Then we can write down 4 times negative 7. And these are the possible factors. You can write it like 28 times negative 1 also, 14 times negative 2 also, and 7 times negative 3 also, sorry, 4 also. And that we can decide based on the sum value also. Now, once I get the product as negative 28, I got the different options. Now I have to see which option is giving me sum as negative 12. So if I take the first part, 1 and negative 28, so the answer will be negative 27, or if I take negative 1 plus 28, so it will be 27. But both the cases doesn't work for us. They both do not work for us. Second example is if you take 2 and minus 14, so I will be getting negative 12, and this is what we need. So I got my answer for the factors or for the splitting terms. Now I'm going to split the middle term. And the middle term splitting will be like this. 4x squared plus 2x minus 14x minus 7. Or you can write it like this also. 4x squared minus 14x plus 2x minus 7 also. In both ways, when you will find your final answer, it would be exactly same. So I take the first case here and I split the middle term. Now look at the first two terms and see what we can take common. It is 2x. So inside will be 2x plus 1 minus, from the last two terms, I can take 7 common. When you take this 7 common, inside will be 2x plus 1. Because this minus is outside, so the signs inside will be changed. So this negative will become plus. And if let's say here is a positive number, so then it will become minus. This is a very important point. Now, if we look at here, we have two terms again. And from these two terms, 2x plus 1 is a common part. So I will take the 2x plus 1 common. And what I'm left with, 2x from the first term and negative 7 from the second term. So this is the solution. Now sometimes there are slight different kinds of variations will be there. For example, you can get the first term as a negative number also. For example, you have negative 4x squared plus 12x plus 7. In these type of questions, though we can do them directly also, but I will always advise you, if you have the x square coefficient as a negative term, then that negative 1 you can always take it common to make the coefficient of x square as a positive number. So this will become this way, negative 4x square minus 12x minus 7. Further, you can solve this part, like factorize this part, 4x square minus 12x minus 7 in a usual way as I explained. And this minus 1 will keep on writing in all the steps. Okay, so this is one of the variation if you get a negative sign before the x square coefficient. This is a very important point. I hope this is clear to you. Let's discuss one last question. And the question is 5x squared minus 16x plus 3. Now again here, if I look at the sum value is negative 16 and the product is positive 15. Now the question here is very important. Here the important thing is that we have sum as negative value and product is positive. Product is positive if you are multiplying two positive numbers or if you are multiplying two negative numbers. But if you multiply two positive numbers, then sum can never be negative. So that means the two numbers should be both negative. So 15 we can get like 1 times 15, or 15 we can get like 3 times 5 also. And in both the cases, if I add up, 1 plus 15 is 16 and 3 plus 5 is 8. This case is gonna work for us, but before that we have to take both the numbers as negative, because then only I will be getting the sum as a negative sum, which is negative 16. Once you get the numbers negative 1 and negative 15, we would be writing those numbers here. We will split the middle term. So 5x square minus 1x minus 15x plus 3. And from here, from the first two terms, only x is common. So 5x minus 1. And from the last two terms, 3 is common. And again, because here is a negative sign, so this plus will be changed to minus. So it will be 5x minus 1. And when you factorize these kind of questions, this bracket part should come out same. It's not forcefully you will write, these terms should come like this way only, these expressions. If they are not same, that means we have done a mistake. You need to recheck your work. So one factor 5x minus 1 is common, and the next factor is x minus 3. This completes the question. Thank you.